quick of a learner you are.
Yeah. It's running great.
Isn't it?
You were carrying a lot of momentum for those turns too.
Every car is a momentum car. I don't care. I don't care who says, "Oh, Miata's a momentum car." Every car is a momentum car.
Yeah, anything is.
Anything, because you always, you never have enough power. I don't care what kind of car you have.
And you can lose momentum so easily.
Yeah, I mean, why? If you had the momentum, why would you want to lose it?
Exactly.
Right? Because your engine works so hard to get there.
Exactly. And I feel like it's very easy to lose momentum.
Oh, it is. I mean, if you overbrake, we did pretty well other than that overboost.
Oh yeah.
Like you felt when it hit, the car shut down, because it was making so much boost. There's a safety switch in the computer
To keep the turbo from killing itself.
Because you don't want to hurt the engine, because we keep making boosts and hurt the engine.
Gotcha.
So what it does, it actually cuts the fuel. It shuts the fuel off, and then the car has no fuel. It stops, and that lets the boost come down. So that's why I really can't give it full throttle. I wasn't giving it full throttle everywhere.
Because your red line's at 6,800, right?
This car, yeah, it's like 6,800, 7,000.
You're probably hitting around 6.5.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
but there was no need to redline it either.
No, this car pulls very hard. Like you felt the car was pulling hard from anywhere from like 3,400. It pulls hard up to about. It starts
62?
to drop off 62. Because the horsepower peak in this car is 5,900.
Gotcha.
And so anything after 5,900, it's kind of a waste because your horsepower is already dropping off. The only real reason to rev it past the horsepower peak is you want to give yourself a little bit of a margin, so when you go down to the next gear, you don't come so far out of the boost.
Gotcha.
Because you see, like if I shift at 6,200, it comes back down when I go to fourth at 4,000.
Yeah, so you're
It's
out
a big gap because the gears are so tall.
So the FRS is geared close. We'll be running high RPMs the whole day.
Oh yeah, and you've got what, a 6-speed box, right?
Yeah.
Yes, this only has a 4-speed, right? And fourth gear in this car will do 190 miles an hour.
Wow, my fourth takes me to 105 and that's it.
Yeah, this will do 190 in fourth, so my gears are like ridiculous.
My prediction on the straightaways, maybe we'll get 110 tops.
Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Probably 110. You're probably about right. That's probably right. What were we doing? Like 125?
125, yeah.
Okay, and I wasn't really hammering on it because I couldn't floor it with the boost. So this car was doing that front straightaway. If I didn't have the boost issue, we'd be doing 130, maybe 135.
Yeah.
We had decent lap times though. I tell you, for street tires.
120 is a good
120 that's a really good time for me. My fastest time here ever is a 118, and that was on track tires. So yeah, I'm happy with that 120. We'll get it down the next session when it gets a little warmer. Because you never really felt the tires really had a lot of grip. We were always sliding, right?
Oh yeah, it felt sideways a lot.
Yeah, because the tires just weren't. That's too cold. It's too cold out.
RE11s though, I don't know. They do heat up fairly quickly.
They do, but it's just such a cold day.
RE71Rs are a 200 tread where they replaced the RE11, so they're a little bit better.
They're a better tire. Yeah.
They're louder on the highway though.
Yeah, the 71R is actually the newer tire, and it is a better tire. I mean, these tires, the RE11s came out. The tires on this car are probably, I'd say 5 years old.
So they're not even, they're stale essentially.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've had like, I've got. Yeah,
after 2 years, a summer tire is pretty much useless.
I mean, yeah, these are at least 5 years old. These tires. I'll have to look at.
So they're not even running at their full spec.
Oh no. I mean, they're not. Even my track tires are 4 years old.
How much camber do you have dialed in?
In the front, I have 2 degrees, a little over 2 maybe, about as much as I can get. Maybe I might have 2.5. I don't know if I have quite that much. And in the rear, I have -2.
Gotcha.
So I have a little less in the rear just because I can't get any more.
Gotcha.
I might be able to get. I was supposed to be able to get 3 in this car, but I might be able to. But I haven't had an alignment done on it in probably 10 years.
Wow.
So yeah, the corner balance is a little off. The alignments are a little bit off. I know the toe is good because I reset the toe, and the front camber I can reset myself, but the rear of the car is very hard to adjust.
Gotcha.
So I haven't monkeyed with it. I'll turn this off because my battery just did. If I know. Usually this mic will go dead by the end of the day.
What's your daily driver?
I got a Honda CR-V.
Nice.
Yeah, so
What year?
2009.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And 20 hours. And so this is only my toy car.
Yeah, I have a 13 Tacoma.
Right.
For my daily. So the FRS, I can use it for daily since it's pretty much stock.
Yeah.
It's comfortable enough, but I don't drive it in the snow. So it's my fair weather car, essentially.
Yeah. But I mean, if you really want to drive in the winter too, you'd want to get a little seasons, or
Snows.
ideally snows would be the best thing. Like get an all-out snow tire because you have summer tires, but that requires a rim change, right?
Yeah.
So it's a lot more expensive and stuff, but that's really the best thing to do.
Yeah.
But I mean, like in the winter, these probably aren't going to be the greatest. Like
Just
winter.
based on the physics.
Yeah, well, the tire itself has a lot to do with the tread.
How would
pattern.
911s be in the snow in winter?
They're unbelievable.
That's what, because
They're
Beetles were
unbelievable.
unbelievable. Because
Yeah.
the weight's all in the.
Right, the weight is over the drive wheels.
How about mid-engine cars? Would they do well
They're
in snow?
probably better. They're probably better than the front engine, rear wheel drive,
Yeah.
which is the worst setup. Because what happens is you want the weight over the drive wheels, right?
Right.
That's why front wheel drive cars are so great. Because the engine's in the front, you get all that weight over the front tires. That's why you have all the grip.
Yeah.
And that's why 911 is such a great race car, because with all that engine weight over the rear wheels, it's a tremendous amount of
Planning
traction. Yeah, I mean, coming out of a corner, I don't know if you felt it, but when I got on the
It
gas,
just plants.
It just plants. On a car like a Mustang, if he used to get a lot of power like I did coming out of a corner, he'd spin the rear wheels up because there's no weight back there.
See, FRS does well coming out of. Well, it's 5347.
You got more even weight, and you don't have a lot of power, so you're not going to overpower the rear wheels. Like if you were to floor it,
Nothing.
you're
It'll
not.
just go.
Yeah, you don't have enough power to like physically overdrive the wheels. But like a car like a Mustang with a big V8, he could physically, with the engine power, overdrive those rear wheels. It's very easy to do in that car because there's no weight in the back. I mean, I'm not saying there's no weight, but there's a lot less than what I have. So I mean, I can really come out of corners in a 911. You can explode out of corners.
Is that why they win races?
Yeah, I mean, and plus their engineering, they're a great car. There are drawbacks though because of that weight in the back that they tend to oversteer because of that weight. So if you have to really know how to drive them properly, but you can use it as an advantage, like anything else. If you learn to drive the car a certain way, there's certain techniques to drive them, you can take advantage of what people would call a bad design. You can take advantage of that, and what you do is, with a 911, you steer the car a lot with the throttle. Like you notice, I was doing a little bit of it, I wasn't really doing it lately, but if I want to get the car to turn more, I can lift off the gas. And what happens is in a 911, when you're cornering at a very high rate, if you lift off the throttle, what happens is the weight transfers to the front. Because everything with performance driving is about weight transfer. Your whole goal as a driver is to manage the weight. Ideally, we want the weight to always be the same as it is on the ground right now on all four tires, because the way tires work is they're basically the stickiness of the force from a tire is the normal force on the tire times the friction coefficient. That's what gives you the grip. All right. Now, if you look at the stickiness, the friction coefficient of the tire, right? It's a curve. It's not a linear curve, so the friction goes up to a point, and then it starts to fall off again. Right? And the only thing you can control as a driver is that normal force. You can't do nothing about the rubber tire. You can't do nothing about the friction. So the only thing you do as a driver is to control that normal force. Right? The tire gives you the most grip when the normal force on the tire is the same as it would be like on the ground. But when you go around a corner, what happens is the weight transfers, right? Just like I'm making a right turn. What does the car do? The car rolls, right? If I'm making a right turn, the car wants to roll left, right? What's happening is all the weight in the car is transferring to your left side tires. So let's say you had 100 pounds on the front right corner, and you had 100 pounds when the car was sitting. You go into a right-hand turn, now this front corner gets 50 pounds on it. This one gets 150, because that 50 came over on this side.
Gotcha.
All right. So what you're doing as a driver is you're trying to balance those weights and control the weight transfer. Now with a 911, what you can do is, if you want to say you're in a corner and you want to turn the car more, you have a certain amount of weight over the rear tires. If you lift off the gas momentarily, like real quick, you just do a throttle lift. Weight transfers off the back because you're no longer accelerating. You're kind of decelerating. It's almost like hitting the brakes. Weight transfers to the front tires. So now you've taken a little bit of weight off those rear tires, and they slide. All right. So now the tires are starting to slide. So now the rear end of the car is starting to rotate. All right. Now I get back on the gas to stop the rotation. I get back on the gas. I transfer weight off the front back to the rear tires. It puts more normal load on them. They regain their grip, and then they keep going. So what happens is, if I want to subtly turn the car in a corner, I'll do little throttle lifts, and I get the rear end of the car to move. So if I'm making a right turn, I'm holding the steering wheel, I can actually rotate the car with just the throttle. I don't have to turn the steering wheel to turn it.
Gotcha.
I do a little lift, and the rear tires will skid a little bit. You kind of felt it going over that turn 5.
Oh, yeah, I did.
You feel how the car would like, as it went over the hill, it would like rotate, and then you kind of play with the gas a little bit to get the weight on the back to stop the rotation. That's how you drive 911 real good. Is with your throttle, you're using the throttle for a lot. I don't know if you notice. I mean, next time you go out for another ride, you'll have to pay attention to that. If you're paying attention to the feeling.
Michael Matali, you are the winner for the first prize. Come up to the office. He's in group 2.
All right, so to get out, what you do is you grab that this plastic piece here, and it feels flimsy, but just pull on it. Yeah, there it goes. And I'll take it out. Yeah. And to unbuckle, you just stay half a turn. There you go. Good.
Yep, I got it already.
I'm gonna check underneath the car because we went off the curb there one time, so I want to see if I
did any damage. Yeah.
Hey, I don't know if I might have hit my sway bar. I felt
something.
Something
yeah.
hit. So I hope I didn't break anything. But, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. But I was sliding and I had no choice. But ideally, you don't want to slide and go off the curb like that.
Gotcha.
You know. But
I wonder if I have to go in for like a class meeting of some sort.
I think you might. I'm not sure. I mean, check your schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to miss the class because you miss the class. They won't